How's everyone doing today? It's your host, Zach Schumaker, and today I'm being joined by one of the top transfers from the offseason. He spent the past 3 years at Texas Tech, where he made 2 tournament appearances as well as a national championship appearance. He also was selected to the All Big 12 All Academic team and was an All Big 12 honorable mention last season. He now heads out to Houston, where he's expected to be one of the top players in the AAC. And that's Kyler Edwards. Obviously, you guys are going through practices so far a little bit, starting to work out, get to know the team a little bit. This is your first year on campus, though, so take us through how you're adjusting right now and just how excited you are for the upcoming season.
This is a lot of new things that I gotta learn. That's like, that's good because everybody has to go through that. And just me learning and get to know the other guys well. We just pretty much gelling. Get to know each other, and we just working hard every day.
So what would you say has been the hardest part and the easiest part about adjusting to a new campus and new team?
For the campus part, I think adjusting, like, you don't know where to go, like your classes, you gotta find the gym a couple times, get lost. But that's all part of it. And just, I gotta learn how they play defense, the new plays, just a lot of the things you gotta learn. They work at a different speed and everybody else. Like, this is second to none over here. So
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get a lot more into the upcoming season, Houston, a little bit, but I want to get to know your story a little bit, how you've ultimately got to this place where you're one of the favorites to possibly win AAC Player of the Year this upcoming season. So we had all the way back. You obviously grown up. You're from Texas. Take us through that. Just what was it like growing up out there?
It's a big state, but it's pretty well connected. Everybody knows each other here. It's just like, everybody has a connection in some type of way. So through basketball or it can be just through regular life. So, growing up here, I'm most familiar with Texas. So, I thought I was always going to go back to a school, that's close to home.
Now, I know you spent a little bit of time, obviously, I think your senior year out there going to Findlay Prep, but how has it just been like kind of growing that legacy in Texas all the way through majority of your high school career, now obviously throughout your college career, and just kind of building that legacy in Texas?
It's just, I always wanted to get my name out there, get big, growing up. Everybody does when they're in high school, they want all the glory or whatever. But it's just me, playing, building connections with other people, never having like a bad connection. So, it's just like a big old family here in Texas.
You talk about the basketball aspect. Obviously, Texas is one, if not the best area for basketball. You're looking at the top guys all across the state. So on the basketball side of that, what was that just like growing up? We were competing against some of the best players in college basketball now, NBA players even. Like, what was that like growing up out there?
Oh yeah, it's competition every game. It's no easy game right here. I think we got the most talent, in the world. So it's pretty slept on, but people starting to figure it out that Texas has a lot of talent. A lot of people that can go. So it's just like competitive every game, every tournament. Especially the gas. So that's my favorite tournament. So.
Was there one guy, if you look back, like growing up through high school games and obviously AAU stuff, like was there one player in Texas or even a couple maybe that you love matching up against?
I love matching against Isaac. Isaac Lightly. That's my boy. We've been knowing each other since middle school. We played with each other at YGC. It's Southern Assault now, but we played with each other at YGC. So it's just a lot of connection. We play each other every year in college. So because he go to Oklahoma State, so we had to play him. So that's probably one of the best person I played against.
Now you also look inside your family, and you grew up with an athletic family. Obviously, you have a lot of siblings. We'll get into that in a second too, but you have the athletic genes in your bloodline too. Obviously, your dad played in the NFL at wide receiver. So just walk us through that, just like growing up in that family. What was that like?
My dad real competitive, so he'll do a lot of things just to, compete. It doesn't matter what it was, it could be racing up the stairs, put your seat on fast. It doesn't matter. He's just a real competitive guy, so everything we did was competitive.
Now, when you look at just overall growing up with a lot of siblings, I believe you had 10 or 11 siblings. What was that like?
I didn't get to live with all of them at once, obviously, but yeah, it's just fun, I'm close to all of them. I talk to them all the time. So it's love.
Now let's go through your high school career a little bit. You obviously start off at Bowie High, and that's where you really created your name, started getting more and more attention basketball wise. So why was that the school you chose? Like, why did you want to attend Bowie High?
That was my district when coming out of middle school. So I went to Martin Middle School. So that was the high school that fit into that. So it wasn't really like a decision. It was just where it was and how where I was living at.
So if someone would have told you heading into your freshman year of basketball in high school, could you have imagined yourself becoming a guy that's going to leave high school as a top 150 recruit, someone that could pick from many different high level schools and ultimately create the career you've had so far?
I mean, that was always the goal. Be one of the
Mhm.
best players in Texas, with not Texas State. I mean, the United States. So I mean, just being one of the best players in the world. So I mean, that was always the goal. So I mean, I always had it in my head. So it wasn't. It's not a surprise. If I had a goal, I work towards it.
So what point in your career would you say kind of came together? Like you started feeling, I truly have the talent now. I feel like I truly am one of the better players in the country now.
I believe I was always one of the players. But I didn't have like I was always slept on. I guess as you said, but
Mm-hmm.
I was always underrated. So I mean, I just started going at people's heads, competing against the top players. So I mean, making a name for myself, like we talked about earlier.
Now we go into your upperclassmen years of high school. You have a really breakout season, your junior year especially, average almost 24 a game. You get offensive player of the year in your district. Walk us through that a little bit. Like what led to that breakout season your junior year of high school?
I guess I was comfortable, with the team. We had good players in and out. We had a couple of good football players that came in, gave us a lot of energy. So I mean, it just my teammates, they pushed me every day in practice, and they made sure they made sure, they knew their role. So.
You then obviously make the move to go out to Findlay Prep eventually. And that's obviously a thing that we see more and more common now with a lot of guys. They go play at a prep level, a national scene. So walk us that decision. Like, why was Findlay Prep the school you chose? And why did you ultimately decide to head out there to Nevada and play with them?
I always wanted to go to like a prep school. I always seen like Ben Simmons down at Mount Verdi, and I always seen I know a guy PJ Washington, he went to Finley, so I always seen you know dudes go to like prep school. So that was always in my mind. So I mean, when I got the chance to go, it was a great decision because I already knew Paul Washington, senior. I already knew him through AAU and all that, so it was just like a no burner.
Now, a big thing I know a lot of people talk about is you look at the talent we talked about in the state of Texas, and they don't have necessarily a big prep national school. Obviously, you have a lot of great individual schools. Obviously, Duncanville is great, some of the programs, but like if you think Texas would decide to go create a prep school, a Montverde type thing, an IMG, one of those different programs, do you think that's something that Texas should do? How big would that be? Would you have gone there even? Like, take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I definitely went to a Texas prep school if they had a school like that. I mean, they did like API. They had API a little couple years ago. So I
Mhm.
mean, at that there, I mean, you can see for yourself there, all the top talent went there. So I mean, I went to a prep school in Texas.
Now that one year you go out there, you get to play alongside a couple different high level guys. Obviously, we know Bobo; he's well known in the NBA. Nathan Mensah is doing this thing at San Diego State. A few other
Mm.
guys, but you look at those practices. I think that's the biggest thing we look at the prep scene. What was that like? You competing against a guy that's in the NBA now in Bobo, competing against all those other high level D1 guys. What was that like?
I mean, you can do nothing but get better. Playing with those guys. Everybody. When I started five, went D1. I mean, so it was always a competition. I always competed at a high level, so it was fun. I enjoyed it.
And that's a special team. You guys ultimately don't end up winning Geico, but you guys go to the biggest stage in high school basketball, which is Geico Nationals. End up getting up against the Montverde team that has RJ Barrett, Michael DeVoe, a few others. But what was that like? Just getting to that stage, playing at that level. Walk us through that a little bit.
It felt like a real AAU game. Like you pick your players versus their players. Because prep
Mhm.
school so loaded and talented with each position. So I mean, it just felt like a real AAU game, like AAU Nationals back in the day.
And you look at the big matchup. Obviously, you get to go up against a guy that's a first round pick, a top player in the country. I think number one at that point, RJ Barrett. What was that matchup like for you?
That wasn't our second. I mean, that wasn't our first time meeting. We played them at their
Mhm.
play earlier that year, but it was just getting to see. the number one player in our class or number two, whatever he was, the top player in our class, right in front of you. So it was pretty fun competing with him.
And one thing I know about you that I always love about your game is you always do pick up the best player, at least one of the guys. Obviously, it's typically one of the 1 to 3. You pick up the best guy on the court. So walk through that mentality yourself. Like, who is still that in you? Like, when did you start getting that mentality, and what's kind of drove you to be that guy that says, whatever it is, I'm going to pick up the best guard, the best small forward on the court at all times?
Probably when I got into college. I wasn't playing no defense in high school. There was no play. So, Texas Tech was known for the defense. So I mean, when I got there, that's the only way I can get on the court. So I kind of just put it in my brain just to, if this is what I got to do to get on the court, I'm gonna do it. So I mean, it kind of got fun after that. So I love guarding. I love competing. I love guarding. You're the best player on the opposite team. It's always fun.
Let's go through that process, that recruiting. Obviously, you had a lot of offers. I believe you got over 30 at one point. You ended up going down to some schools like Butler. I know was in the heavy mix for you, Georgia Tech, Kansas State, OSU, Virginia Tech, obviously Texas Tech as well. But walk us that process. Like, how did you ultimately end up at Texas Tech, and who did that really come down to? Like, who were the top 2-3 schools for you?
My top three was Texas Tech. It was SMU. Man, it's a long time ago. Who was the next school? And I think OSU maybe. I'm not sure. It's been a minute. But yeah, I mean, what led me to go there was Coach Beard and the assistant coach Al Pinkins that recruited me when I was there. So I mean, those two really connected with me, bonded with me the best, and I thought it was a family. So I mean, me and my family made a decision together. I'll go there, and I feel like it was the best choice for my high school.
At that point in time, Coach Beard wasn't well known yet. I mean, he kind of had a little bit of buzz going in about him, but he's now at Seattle at Texas, regarded as one of the top coaches in the country. And same thing for yourself. Obviously, you were a ranked recruit, but you weren't necessarily regarded as the top 20, top 30, top 5-star type prospect at that point. So what kind of led you guys to go together? Because you guys ultimately both go together, create a legacy. Both of you guys become regarded as the top at your own respective jobs. So what's it been like seeing the way you two have developed now over the past 3 years?
Well, going into college, we all knew that we was underdogs. Everybody on the team, everybody counted us out already. We was projected 7th place in the Big 12, and we just kept that and just kept it in our hearts, and we never forgot about it. And then we never looked back. So I mean, the rest is history. We went on an incredible season run. It was amazing, but yeah, it was just amazing just coming into that. Like right off the back, freshman year, a lot of great memories and experiences.
So when you first commit to Coach Beard, did you expect him to become the coach that he was already? Did he kind of surprise you how good you guys kind of grew together? Or like, what were you kind of expecting for Coach Beard the first year out there?
I didn't expect anything less. I mean, he told me his plan from day one. He never changed it. He never switched any word. Whatever he planned from day one. I mean, that was it. And he just kept sticking to it. And going through the process every day.
We talked about that winning mentality that he kind of instilled in you, and you obviously weren't a guy who was a go-to player right away. You had a team loaded of guys like Jarrett Culver, obviously a top 10 pick. You guys had a ton of guys at Tariq, Mooney, obviously a lot of guys that make the championship run. So how did you buy in as a freshman? Like, how did you say, I'm not going to go out there and score 20 points a game again. I'm going to make sure I get minutes out here. I'm going to play in every single one. I'm going to become a winning player. How did you buy into that?
Like I was saying earlier about the defense thing, that's the only way I can get on the court, and it helped our team a lot, me taking pressure off some of the players, give them a little break. I mean, that was my role during my freshman year, play defense, shoot threes, do what you can do, but, just get it out there, the best player sometimes, pick up full court. So, I mean, anything I could have did to get on the court, I would have done.
Were you okay with that at first? I mean, you're coming off of being a guy that just went at 16 points a game. The year before that, 24 a game. Like, were you okay with that? Did you struggle a little bit coming off the bench, or how'd you handle that personally?
Yeah, I think every freshman struggle with that. Being the man to having to start all the way over. I mean, some people don't have to do that. I mean, like Cade Cunningham, he can just come in and do his thing. So, I mean, but for some people like me, I mean, everybody don't have the same situation as me, but people like me, you got to do what you can do, to get on the court as a freshman and stick to it. And just master your role. And if it do come later in the season, I mean, you be prepared for it.
And as you said, you guys weren't projected to be a national champion, not even really make the tournament to start the year. You guys were seventh in the Big 12. And as we know, you guys go on that great March Madness run to the championship. So what were those training camps and preseason games like? Like just going through that, all you guys kind of have the underdog. No one really had high regards for you guys as a team. What were those practices like though before the year started?
Very competitive. We wanted to win so bad from the beginning because we were so angry. So I mean, it was a lot of heated practices. We get after each other. But we all knew that we had one goal. And that was to win the whole thing. So I mean, just us, competing, made each other better every day.
So would you guys have been shocked if someone told you guys that 6 months from now you guys are going to be playing the national championship game?
Nah, because that's all we talked about since the first day. That's all we talked about.
You look inside that locker room, who would you say you kind of connected with the best that year? Like, was it Jarrett Culver? Was it Mooney? Like, who kind of was the guy that you'd say maybe helped you a little bit throughout your freshman year?
I really connected with everybody well. I mean, there's not one person that stands out. I mean, more than the other. They all helped me. They all, I learned from them all. So I mean, they're all great friends. So.
When you look back, was there one practice or one moment even that stands out the most to you? Like, what would you say is kind of like the funniest moment from those practices or that season?
Usually when the staff play one-on-one, the one-on-one games, that was the most funniest thing you'll ever see in your life. I mean, it's just like a bunch of old men trying to play one-on-one. So, I mean, it's just funny. It was just funny and great memories with that.
Who typically won those games?
It depends who coach picked or who we pick. It don't matter. It just depends.
Now, as you guys go through that season, you guys start clicking more and more. You guys start becoming one of the top teams in the country. Just take us through the ups and downs of that season for you and overall as a team as well. Like, what was the year and the course of the year like?
Yeah. So we started off strong that year. Mm-hmm. And then we lost a couple games, and we decided that we wasn't gonna lose anymore until so we had to. Well, not had to, but till we did. So I mean, we went on an incredible run. We won 10 games in a row in the Big 12, something like that, to finish it out. We had to win 10 in a row to win the whole league. So we knew what we had to do. We had a whole bunch of older guys, that knew the plan, and we just followed them.
By the end of that season, you guys get to the March Madness tournament, and that's the dream of anybody. So what was that experience like? Like, you get to go out there as a freshman, national stage, playing on March Madness. What was that first experience like for you?
It was a great experience because, first time you get off the bus, it's not your plane. It's the NCAA tournament's plane. So, I mean, you get to walk in that carpet. Mm-hmm. You get to look at the different cities you in. You get to be in California. I was in California, Oklahoma, and then Minneapolis. So I mean, it was just fun. It was a fun experience.
When you look back, what was the funnest part besides just the winning, but off the court, what was the funnest moment you had from the March Madness run that year?
It was in California. We went to Disney World. Mm-hmm. Was it Disneyland or Disney World out there?
Disneyland, I think. Yeah.
Disneyland, yeah, we went there. So that was pretty fun because I ain't never been before.
Now, you guys go through that run. Obviously, you guys keep moving on all the way to the championship. But as you guys go game by game, just take us through the emotions of the locker room, how you guys were able to keep going game by game. Just take us to that stretch run going to the championship.
We had a mini tournament in our locker room, just us, we had a 2-game tournament. Make sure we just, 2-game tournament. So we was always looking at this game and next game, You win these two, you got to get another week to advance. You get another week to prepare. So, I mean, we just, breaking it down little by little, wasn't looking forward or looking past the game ahead of us. So we was just real focused.
And you really do rise to the occasion in that championship game. You're going up against Virginia and you have a 12-point game as a freshman. So kind of walk us through that experience. So you get to go out there. How were you able to contribute at that level and just take us to the championship game?
We was all excited, to play in that game, first of all. So whatever we had to do, to win the game, we did. We didn't have any jealous people on our team, trying to shy away from the person. But if you were hot, you were hot. We'll give it to you. It didn't matter. I just so happened to be hot. They just kept feeding me. So I mean, that was a great experience for that part.
Now, after that season, you obviously know that Jarrett Culver's gone, Mooney's gone. You guys lose pretty much a lot of core pieces for that year's team, and you're gonna get the chance now. Like this will be your team to pretty much take over, at least be one of the main guys. So, how'd you prepare for that season? When it's that offseason time span, how'd you get ready for your sophomore year?
Um, I think that was my hardest working off season I had before. Getting prepared for the next season, the load that I had to carry. I know I had way more responsibility in my freshman year. Stepping up and being all different other players. So I know I had to put in the work and grind. So I mean, just knowing that, I was just work every day.
You look at all the lessons that you learned from a guy like Jarrett Culver. What would you say is the biggest thing he taught you?
He stayed in the gym. He's a gym rat. So I mean, that's what I really picked up and learned from him. Even though I was a gym rat already, but he stayed there all day.
You guys have the new young core that obviously we've got to see now over the past couple of years. Jemiah Ramsey obviously comes out. TJ is a freshman that year. Kevin as well comes in. What were those guys like? And what was like kind of getting those guys into the core group?
Yeah, them guys were funny, man. They were one of my best teammates, and I still talk to them to this day, each and every one of them. So those guys pretty much came in, wanted to win, wanted to do everything right. I think they had a great freshman year, all three of them.
And how'd you guys grow that bond? Because we got to see you guys now for 2 years. Obviously, Jemiah's left after one, but you, TJ, Kevin, what was that just like? Kind of seeing the way you two guys kind of became a big three, a dynamic duo at different times. Like, what was like just growing your three bond?
Yeah, we all lived in the same house, so I mean, it was like we already had a connection, So I mean, us three, we got a great friendship to this day. So it's just on your guys.
Who's the funniest one out of you three?
I don't know. We all got our moments. We all funny. We all got our moments though.
Well, take us to that sophomore year because that was your breakout season. You start every game that year, 31 for 31. You end up averaging 11 points a game, 4 rebounds, kind of become that one of the top players in the Big 12. So walk us to that breakout sophomore year for you.
Like I said, I handled more of a scoring role or, just a bigger role than I had my freshman year. So I mean, me just making plays out there when I had to, or when I was out there. I mean, that was the main thing.
And following that season, obviously the COVID pandemic comes in. You guys would have made the tournament or at least been right there in the mix for it. COVID comes into effect. Obviously, everything goes on the past season. So how did you adjust to COVID? Like as a player, working in a game that offseason, not being able to get on campus for a while, like how'd you adjust to that?
It was hard. I think it was hard for everybody because a lot of gyms was shut down. It was forced to, go outside, man, and the rims outside was even taken off or like blocked. So I mean, it was hard for everybody. I think not having basketball and not having that outlet, we usually have to, get away from a lot of stuff. So I think it was hard on everybody.
When you talk about getting on campus, then obviously it's not easy as well. You guys are having to wear masks everywhere, getting tested almost every day. Obviously, all the different protocol that came with that too. So, how do you adjust to the course of the season while dealing with the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, I think I adjusted fine. It was a lot of things you couldn't do. Couldn't be in the same, hotel room or same room where somebody did have COVID. You have to go sit out too because you was too close to them. But it was just a lot of things I had to get adjusted to. But at the end, I mean, we all got used to it and all stuck to the rules.
And you guys still had a pretty solid year, 18-11 as a team. You start almost all games as well. How did you guys as a team just get chemistry? Because that's the hardest thing I know a lot of guys talked about. You're not with guys as often. It wasn't as easy to practice throughout the year. How did you guys ultimately get that kind of chemistry to be able to go out there and have a great season overall still?
We had a lot of group FaceTimes, just talking about the season, just having fun. We always just a group chat, just joking around or it was just something serious. So I mean, I think that's how we bonded, over the phone more than in person.
And when we look at overall for you, your numbers dipped a little bit in some categories. Obviously, you had 3 games off the bench too, but how did you adjust to that? Like, what was the kind of challenges for you of dealing with that? And how did you take that part in?
I didn't take it any type of way, you know. I mean, he just decided to bring me off the bench. I didn't have any problem with it. You know, I was gonna work my way back. You know, because I didn't think I was playing my best at that time. So he had a right to, yank me out the lineup. So
And that's what part I also loved about you too, because you are a guy that ultimately you're improved at whatever level it is. If it is off the bench, if it's starting, you always find a way to go out there and play. And at least from the public view, people couldn't see if you were frustrated about it at all or anything like that. So how did you be able to kind of take that and play it the way you still did, still play at a high level, even if maybe you weren't as happy necessarily about it at different points?
like I said, I don't have no ego. So whatever I had to do, it was all about winning. So I wasn't even tripping about a starting spot or if I was coming off the bench or not. It didn't matter to me. All I cared about was winning.
So you guys then head out to the bubble, and obviously it's not the funnest for a lot of guys, but how did you enjoy the bubble? Like, what was the pros of it? Did you find anything good about the bubble? Like, just what was it like being in there?
You get that hotel room. It's cold in there. So as soon as you hit the sheets, you're done. It's better than your bed almost. So that and the course was inside the hotel. That's pretty fun. Just walking to them, and just getting to practice on them. So that was like the best thing about the bubble.
You guys do win one game, obviously losing the second round, but just what was it like playing on the stage? Obviously, it's a much different scenario for you guys. You guys got some fans in there though for the games. Just what was it like kind of getting through the COVID pandemic and ultimately playing in a couple of different March Madness games this past season?
I think it was fun, just being in the state in that state of in that state Indiana. Yeah, so it's just fun. You playing in different college places. I never played at Indiana before or Butler, so just getting experience playing somebody else's gym. It's fun.
I also have to ask about one thing. We do know you rocked number 0 for the first couple of years out there. You made the switch then to number 11. That's obviously what you're going to stick with, I believe, now at Houston. What led that switch to? Like, why'd you go from 0 to 11?
We was trying to get Matt McClung to come to Tech, and then he had the number 0 on his little picture, and I told him if you want the number 0, I'll give it to you if you commit here. So that's what he ended up doing, committing. Ended up coming here, and I gave him the number 0.
So why was 11 the number you chose? Like, what stood out to you about that number?
I was number 11 at Findlay.
Mm-hmm.
So me going back to 11 was no problem.
Well, let's hit this past offseason then. We know that was a chaotic part for you, and the transfer portal becomes the new rule. You don't have to sit out now if you transfer. And first of all, Coach Beard obviously takes the job at Texas. You put your name in the portal, you come back, you go back out there and go to Houston. So walk us through this whole crazy summer. For starters, Coach Beard, were you surprised by that at all? Were you shocked? Did that alter your decision at all? Like, just take us through the first piece of that.
So when he told me he was going to go to Texas, my first decision wasn't to leave out the gates. It was to talk to my parents, my family, see what what was comfortable for us. So when I did put my name in there, I talked to a lot of coaches, and and I connected with Coach Sampson, so I connected with them well. I already knew them from a long time ago. They've been recruiting me since sophomore year of high school, and we play them every year. We scrimmage them. Texas Tech, we scrimmage them every year, so I got familiar with them. Just off the court as well. So I felt most comfortable coming here at the end of the day. So that's what I did.
So let's say Coach Beard decided to say, you know what, I'm going to stay at Texas Tech. I'm not going to take the job at Texas. Do you think you'd still be at Texas Tech?
I don't know. I don't know.
When you talk about that other decision, like you had originally decided to go back to Texas Tech, then you go to Houston. So what led to that decision? Like what led you to ultimately go back to Texas Tech for a little bit and then come back into the portal?
Like I said, me and my family, we made a couple decisions to come back, and then we had a change of heart. So it wasn't anything like crazy. It was just a change of heart.
I know you obviously, like you said, you had a lot of schools reaching out to you. So what were some of the top schools? Like, would you say there was another program you got close to? Who were some of the programs you're heavily looking at?
Probably LSU. LSU was probably the top right there with Houston. So I got real close with the coach there. So
So how did Coach Sampson make the extra push? Like, how did he ultimately win you over? What was his separating points that took you from possibly going to LSU to ultimately heading out to Houston?
Winning. He likes the same thing I like. Winning. Working hard. Just grinding for everything. So I mean, I feel like I was perfect match for him. So.
And you look at what they're coming off of now. Obviously, the AAC, which will soon become the Big 12 in a couple of years, but they just came out to a Final Four performance. Got Quentin Grimes to the NBA. Dejon Giroux should have been drafted. Obviously, he's going to have a great career now, two-way with Indiana. What was it just like seeing that? Okay, I'm going to a situation, a Final Four appearance, winning again, and they just got guys to the NBA too. How appealing was that part to you?
Very keen because I like I said, I want to win for my last year. I didn't want to go to any school that selfishly, everybody wants to win. So I mean, my last year, I wanted to make sure I went to a school, that could win. And I can help to win. Just picking a school like that, and the getting to the NBA part was crucial to me too. So.
So what does Coach want you to bring to the team this year? We know this a couple big roles. Like I said, Dejon's obviously moved on. Quentin Grimes, I think you could probably fill his role next year. But like, what does he want you to bring to this team this upcoming season?
He wants me to bring, my scoring ability. Just being able to, score all three levels. And being able to guard the best players again. So my two-way abilities. So.
This team is looking special. You guys added a few different guys. Robbie's a freshman. Ramon. You guys also bringing in Josh, transfer from UConn. Take us to this team so far. Like, you're around them. You get to see the way these guys are playing so far. How special is this team looking this year?
This is probably the most talented team I've ever been on. Like top to bottom, everybody's good. It's competitive in every open gym, every 4-on-4, 5-on-5 thing. All the games we play is competitive. We're very talented here.
So I know you kind of got to see these guys too. There's a few guys I know. There's a lot of people talking about potential breakout seasons for guys on this team, but you get to see these guys. So who are some guys that you'd say, or even one guy specifically, you've really been impressed with so far and you think is going to have a huge year that people may not be expecting it from?
It's really, I'm telling you right now, it's a toss up for anybody because it's a lot of guys that haven't been like, highly touted, a lot highly recruited or have the name like a lot of people. So, I mean, anybody on this team can really just make their name this year.
I know a couple of guys, obviously we know Chamon Mark's probably going to step into the starting lineup this upcoming year. How much is he looking so far, and just what can people expect from him this year?
Oh, he's looking real good. He's been working on this game every day, hard. Like everybody, on this program, on this team, and I think he's a great scorer. Great defender too. He's gonna be a good player. This coming up here.
And how about Coach Sampson? You get to be around a new coaching staff now for the first time in 3 years. How have you adjusted to him so far, and just what's like being around him?
He's a very funny guy. Off the court, he love joking with you. Playing with you. So, on the court, we like to get after it. We like to get after it. So, I mean, he loves when people compete. Loves people work hard. So, me and him, we in good peace.
So what's the funniest moment you've had with Coach so far since you've been out there?
Um, Let me see. It's been a lot of I think he made me run one time, but then he was laughing about it. Just playing with me, see what my hair was. Just joking with me. Just trying to see where I was gonna be. I was gonna be in a bad mood or a good mood, but I was in a good mood. It really didn't matter. So he started laughing. It was just funny.
So far now you've been 3 years with Coach Beard, now a couple months now, Coach. How has this been? The differences in terms of practices, like intensity wise? Just what's the difference between the two programs so far you've noticed?
I think these programs are similar in a lot of ways. We love to compete and get after it in text. So like coming here is like the same thing. Nothing different. Just still competing and wanting to win every day.
There's another big thing that's now come into play. Obviously, NIL, name, image, likeness. You obviously signed with the group. I know you guys are kind of working on that stuff too. Take us to that a little bit. Like, how big has that been for you? How excited has that made you? And just take us through how you benefit from that so far, or at least working towards benefiting from it.
It's been real exciting because you get to talk to a lot of people you didn't have contact with.
Mm-hmm.
Different people about their brand and stuff, so forth and so forth. But I don't let it distract me from the main goal, which is winning games, working out, or working hard every day. So I mean, it doesn't distract me, it doesn't take away from my time. It's just a cool thing to experience.
And that is crucial because obviously there's going to be some guys that probably will take it the wrong way, put too much focus into making money, branding themselves, which obviously that's what they're into, want money. That's, I guess, fine. But how have you learned to balance it? Like, how have you learned to say, I'm still prioritizing basketball? This is my number one goal. It's just going to be an added on thing for me now.
Yeah, I get my work out the way,
Mm-hmm.
during the day and come back at night. Before I do anything like with any of that NIL stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I do look at it sometimes. I do have conversations with people, but I never let it distract me.
So was there any impact in the recruiting process for you in terms of NIL? Like, did the coaches make a pitch to you in that regards at all? Was that something that crossed your mind at all, or did that not impact it at all?
No, it didn't impact.
Absolutely. Well, a few more things before I let you go. One of which is we do know obviously that last year didn't necessarily count in terms of eligibility for guys. So technically you could have one more year if you wanted to after the season. Is that something you'll look into? Do you just plan on wanting to be done after this year? Like, walk us through where you stand on that.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'll be returning for another year. This is my last year. So I mean, that was that. I wasn't planning on using the extra year.
So when you talk about having one year to possibly make an impact on this fan base in Houston, what do you want to be left with kind of them remembering you for? Like, what do you want to bring to this team that people can kind of remember you for?
He just a guy. They said he came in, and took us back. Helped the whole team go back to the Final Four and hopefully win this time. Just want to be remembered as a winner.
Absolutely, man. Well, something I was like wrapping discussing is building a legacy for yourself. I know all guys want to remember for something. So when that point does come and you step away from this game of basketball someday, what do you want to remember for what you achieved both on and off the court?
Just being a competitor every night. Never giving 50%. Always giving your very best 100. So I mean, just being that guy and off the court. Being a great person. To the community and and people around him.
I know ultimately your goal will be to play in the NBA, like I said, most likely after this upcoming season then. So what's the things you want to key in on? Like, is there something you really want to improve on during the next 365 days before that draft time does come eventually?
Um, Being more aggressive on the offensive end. Making plays for myself or making plays for my teammate. Just being more aggressive this year than anything.
So who's someone you compare yourself to? Like, is there an NBA player you kind of model your game after you try taking pieces from?
I really like, Dame Lillard because, his range, his shot, he can do everything, 3-level score. So, I mean, just looking at him or like a Bradley Beal,
Mhm.
a guard that can score, I look up to him a lot.
I know you're also a believer, so kind of talk about your faith a little bit. How has God helped get you to the point you're at today?
I don't think I'll be anywhere without him. I think you can do anything through him, but nothing without him. So, I mean, I believe in God. Pray to him every night. Every morning. You just gotta give him your time. He give his.
So where would you say is the biggest moment you've seen God show up in your life so far?
Every day he shows up. I know he's there every day. By me. No matter what I did or what I did in my past or what am I doing right now. So I think he's always there every day.
Now, as you continue to build your brand and you become bigger and bigger in college level and in pros, how do you want to be able to spread his light and be his light in the world?
Talk about him, as often as I can, even as that celebrating, through him. Like I hit a game winner, I mean, so I saw him, waking up is all him. So I mean, you know, it's great.
Absolutely, man. Well, my final thing for you, give Houston fans your three biggest goals you have set for your final season out here at Houston.
Um, win the regular season, win the conference tournament, and win the national championship. Win all three.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm excited to see what God got next for you and appreciate you taking time to come on today.
Thank you, man.
Of course, always welcome on, man. God bless.
All right.